A NATO AWACS just flew its first operational mission over Finnish airspace, escorted by Finnish Hornets with a Finnish weapons controller on board. That's not a photo op, that's NATO wiring Finland into the war machine. Hey friends, Wes here, Army infantry veteran and AWACS veteran from the Air Force, and Finland's Air Force confirmed it. A NATO E-3 Sentry flew an operational mission in Finnish airspace with Finnish F-18 Hornets escorting it, and reporting highlights a Finnish weapons controller on board as part of Finland's integration into NATO's airborne command structure. This information comes to us from Army recognition, and that last detail is the tell. Escort flights happen. A Finnish controller in the loop means the plumbing is going in, and once the plumbing is in, the system starts to run on muscle memory.
Hey guys, Wes here. I am jumping in here from the future while editing this video because we've got new information and it's bad. Reports now indicate that an E-3 Sentry AWACS, owned by the US, was destroyed at Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia, apparently by Iranian missile or drone fire. And that raises a question so obvious, it could punch a hole through sheet metal. Why was one of America's most valuable strategic air assets parked in a hot zone just 350 miles from Iran, at a base that had already been hit 2 weeks earlier? This isn't some disposable cargo truck. This is an AWACS. This is one of the aircraft that helps hold the whole air war together. It's a giant flying radar node, a battle manager, a high-value asset that every serious adversary on Earth would love to kill. And we just parked it within easy reach of a regime that has already shown it's willing and able to strike that base. Have we learned nothing from Ukraine? Russia has already made this mistake. The Ukrainians have shown that large, rare, slow-moving strategic assets like AWACS are not invincible anymore. They are targets, expensive ones, obvious ones. In the drone and missile age, parking your crown jewels near the front because it's convenient is the kind of idea that results with a smoking crater on the flight line. I've personally worked on the radar system of this destroyed aircraft, now a smoking crater in Saudi Arabia. And so there's a little bit of melancholy here because every single one of these jets has their own personality. They all fly a little different, they all behave a little different, they all have their quirks. And so to see one absolutely obliterated, it kind of hurts a little bit. Okay, back to the regular video. Sorry for the interruption. Stay safe, stay frosty.
If you're new to AWACS, here's the simple version. The E-3 is a flying radar station built to make the sky legible. It takes the messy swirl of tracks, returns, and maybe that's something, contacts, and turns it into a recognized air picture that multiple nations can share. It's the difference between a bunch of aircraft flying near each other and an actual air defense team. I also have a personal stake here. I used to work on the radar system. I know what it feels like when the picture is clean. I also know what it feels like when the picture goes sideways and everyone starts talking at the same time. And let me tell you something, the radar on that broke way more than it was supposed to. That's why we have two chains, a main and a redundant. So what does an E-3 over Finland actually do against Russia? Well, two chapters. Deterrence when nobody's shooting, and war when the phone stops ringing and the missiles start flying. Russia's northern playbook has always leaned on ambiguity and tempo. Probe the edge, test the response, add confusion, count how long it takes NATO to see, decide, and react. Finland joining NATO changed the border length. The AWACS mission changes something more important, the speed and confidence of the response. At the same time, AWACS isn't a superhero aircraft. It's a big, bright, non-stealth Boeing airliner with a dinner plate table radar on top. In a real fight, Russia would love to find it, track it, threaten it, and force it to leave station or destroy it. Russia even invented, this was a while ago, Russia even invented an air-to-air nuclear missile just for the purposes of reaching into the backfield to nuke an area where the AWACS hangs out at. That tension is the story. AWACS makes NATO faster and more coherent, and Russia will try to break that coherence. Okay, deterrence first. Deterrence is not chest thumping. Deterrence is making the other guy's plan look expensive and uncertain. The E-3 orbit over Finland changes three things Russia cares about: detection, attribution, and reaction time. Detection starts with geography. Finland sits in a brutal neighborhood. It's the seam between the Baltic approaches and the high north. From Finnish airspace, an AWACS can widen NATO's look into the northern flank and the Baltic region. This is not a magical X-ray vision into Russia, but it is improved tracking and better continuity near the border, where routine flights and probing sorties can blur together. The E-3 makes it easier to see patterns, not just dots. Attribution is the second piece, and Russia hates attribution. Russia loves fuzzy incidents where everyone argues about what happened, what it means, and who should respond. But AWACS helps turn maybe into a coherent track with timing, altitude, route, and correlation with other sensors. That gives decision makers something sturdier than vibes. It also creates a record. A record matters because ambiguity is one of Putin's favorite weapons. Reaction time is the third piece. With an E-3 building the air picture and cueing fighters, Finland's Hornets and allied aircraft can get vectored faster and more confidently. Even if nobody fires a shot, the message is clear. NATO is seeing you sooner, sorting you faster, and responding with less improvisation.
Confidence is high. I repeat, confidence is high.
That's deterrence, the boring kind that keeps people alive. Now, the mission isn't only about radar coverage, it's about integration. Finland isn't a new member learning the ropes anymore. Finland is getting plugged into NATO's airborne command rhythm. This mission, escorted by the Finnish Hornets, with a Finnish weapons controller participating, is NATO saying the quiet part out loud. Finland is inside the machine. Now we move to wartime, the moment Russia stops probing and starts prosecuting. In a real fight, AWACS doesn't win the war. It makes the war winnable by keeping the air picture coherent while everything is trying to break it. The first thing AWACS does in war is compress the decision cycle. Its value isn't only detection, it's control. You're building a live, recognized air picture, assigning intercept tasks, managing routes, and keeping friendly aircraft from colliding with each other's plans. That's how you avoid fighters chasing ghosts. It's also how you avoid defenders tripping over themselves. Next, AWACS reduces fratricide risk. Northern Europe in wartime becomes crowded fast. National fighters, NATO reinforcements, tankers, ISR, possibly bombers and drones. Then you layer in ground-based air defenses that have their own engagement timelines and their own fear of leakers. AWACS is one of the tools that keeps friendly from becoming a tragic adjective. Third, it helps triage the mixed threat. Russia won't politely send one type of target. You should expect a blend of aircraft sorties, standoff weapons, drones, decoys designed to stress sensors and magazines. AWACS won't catch every low flyer by itself, but it does help fuse and prioritize. And it helps cue other sensors and shooters so the whole defense doesn't fixate on the wrong thing at the wrong time. Then it pushes the fight outward. In air defense, you want to engage threats as far from defended assets as possible. A better air picture lets you position fighters and surface-based defenses more intelligently. So you're not waiting until something is on top of Helsinki before you start arguing about who has the shot. And here's the part that always gets missed on social media. The orbit itself is a tactical decision. The AWACS orbit is predictable by necessity. Predictable is manageable for friendly planning, but it's also a gift to the adversary. And this is also where Finland's role becomes more than geography. Finland is building human integration, not just a sensor coverage. That Finnish weapons controller on board isn't decoration. Weapons controllers run the fight. They monitor tracks, assign intercept tasks, guide pilots toward contacts, and maintain the discipline that keeps a complicated air defense posture from turning into chaos. Finland's Hornets also matter here. They're modernized, networked, and capable of receiving target data and guidance through NATO standard data links. They're armed for beyond visual range intercept work, and Finland has already integrated long-range strike capability onto its Hornet fleet. That combination sends a message to Putin that he will understand instinctively. This border is defended by competent people with real tools, operating inside an alliance network that multiplies both. Finland joining NATO adds a border. This AWACS mission adds something more important, a rehearsed, repeatable pattern of multinational air battle management over the high north. It also changes Russia's northern games. When detection improves, attribution hardens, and reaction time shrinks. Probing becomes riskier. Riskier Russian probes create fewer probes. Fewer probes, reduced surprise. Reduced surprise is the whole point. This also sets the stage for the future. Finland's Hornets are the current backbone, but Finland's F-35s are the next backbone. The more Finland trains inside NATO's airborne command structure now, the less painful the transition becomes later. NATO doesn't want a new member that's connected. NATO wants a new member that's integrated. Those are different things. There's another strategic layer that matters for deterrence: messaging. Russia has tried to frame Finland's NATO membership as escalation. This AWACS mission flips that frame. It shows professional, controlled integration designed to reduce mistakes and increase stability. That's what competent deterrence looks like out loud. Russia spent decades treating Finland like a gray zone it could intimidate with proximity and ambiguity. Finland joined NATO, and now NATO is flying the referee over Finnish airspace, escorted by Finnish fighters with a Finnish controller on the radios. That's not symbolism, that's an ecosystem coming online. If Russia chooses to play stupid games up north, it's gonna find out Finland isn't a soft border, and NATO isn't improvising. And as someone who used to work on that radar system, I'll tell you the quiet truth. The moment the picture gets clearer, the other guy's confidence drops. And that is deterrence. Okay, that's it for today, my friends. Subscribing if you like what I do here. I publish 4 videos a week minimum about global security and the Ukraine war. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.